Greetings. We're going to go ahead and get into part 3 of this extended reading. Now, what I'm picking up is someone felt the need to call on you and ask you for some sort of guidance. And because they did so, now your energy is showing up and theirs is not. And this has a lot to do with my prior reading that entailed someone leaving a situation and then figuring out that they didn't want to be with the person that they're currently with. And because of this, you may feel like a meeting at a pub that surely has a grill has something to do with an encounter that you recently had. Now, what I also feel to be true is someone projects, and because they project, they are also deflecting. Now, you may be an individual that says project to deflect. However, it's deflect to project. And this is because this is this individual's tactic in order to be able to manipulate you mentally and or to take on your energy. Now, someone that you just met may have told you in a story time that they were involved with the underworld. And because they told you this, that led you to this reading. However, currently, they feel like you don't know I'm here. And this is because someone ventured off into a genre that they feel is hidden. And they feel this way because most of the content creators there are beings. Now, what I also feel to be true is this individual can tell who is awake and who is not. However, for them, awake means connectivity. Now, if you are someone that recently went through an ascension, what this entails is voices. However, currently, you may not be hearing them. And this is because you're being protected by a Satan. Now, you could call yourself Pinhead or Sadi Sifiki, which we know as Adaman. And because of this, what I feel to be true for you specifically is you're going through a spiritual awakening while viewing this reading. And this is because you are already aware that this person wanted to be you. However, you weren't aware of whom was protecting you. Now, this certainly has a lot to do with your lineage. However, what I'm getting from the pull from the bottom of the deck is you went off course. And when you went off course, you ran into someone that feels like they can mimic you exactly. Now, what I also know to be true is at the time of a meeting, you or a third party encountered a Shakti. And because you encountered a Shaktinasi, that gave you the upper hand. Now, what I also know to be true is that you are currently not in sync with anyone. And this is because of your membership and because of your awakening. Now, you could have ties to New York or someone that you frequent does. And since this is the case, an underground cipher or an underground city could be something that you're knowledgeable of. However, in the coming months, what was once underground is going to be risen. And this is because when you encountered the Shakti, they told you who you were. And because of this, in the near future, someone that felt like you needed them is going to say they shouldn't have did something again. Now, this has a lot to do with someone's belief that they are a pantheon. However, their means to become one meant that they did some form of necromancy. Now, for those of you that are not aware of what necro is, what this is talking about is someone using pets to get ahead. Now, if you are an individual that researches, that means you'll have no problem with looking this up. However, if you are an individual that takes on someone else's persona, what's going to happen is an energy transference. Because the individual that you decided or a third party did is going to realize that they did this to an elect one. Now, up until this point, someone felt like they could do anyone they encountered this way. And because they felt this way, they are now somewhere where they don't want to be. Now, if you are an individual that feels like your research regarding alternate universes and parallel universes are limited, this is because they are. Now, what I'm also getting is a plane of existence is important to someone viewing this reading. However, currently, they're not in observance. And this is because they're being sidetracked. Now, someone may feel like you bogarted their space. And because of this, they're also attempting to release some form of doctrine in your regard. And this is giving me the mind state of plagiarism. Now, in regards to your choices or someone involved choices, what this is speaking of is an experience that you had in the recent past. Now, you may feel like giving someone their flowers means that you're letting them go, and this is correct. However, for the originals, what this is talking about is a leaf drop. Now, what I also feel to be true is someone that you're currently entertaining is frequenting conscious community content. And because they're doing so, they're opting to call themselves a goddess. However, that is not the case. Now, in regards to a different realm, what this is talking about is you. However, currently, this individual feels like you're not gifted enough to be able to detect what they're doing to you while you are asleep. And because of this, someone in the near future is going to point them out. And when they do so, they're going to ask if you were the person that they heard snoring. And since this is the case, an illumination surely is going to come about. And this has a lot to do with your self-perception and you operating out of your lower self. Now, what I'm also getting is a Cancer female was balancing work, school, and an extracurricular activity that certainly stems from an encounter with you and a third party. However, currently, they may be trying to get their life together. And this is because of an engagement that they're going to have to be at in the near future. Now, you could be a Cancer male and someone released you. And if this is the case in your situation, in the coming months, someone's going to attempt to say that you fathered a child. Now, if you are another Cancer male that surely knows that it was a Cancer that fathered this child, there could be some comparisons between you and a third party. Now, someone may also feel like you pulled back the curtain to an idea that they had. And because of this, they're now opting to say you need to read The Purpose-Driven Life. However, what I'm going to tell you is this particular doctrine has nothing to do with your path. And if you were to order it, what it would do is stunt your growth because someone wants you to be engulfed in a doctrine that has nothing to do with you and in a realm where they can listen to you. Now, this has a lot to do with something that you ingested. However, currently, they believe that you don't know the difference between barbecue and isiki, which we know as menses. Now, if you're from the South, you're familiar with the spaghetti trick. However, in this new era, they're opting to put it in barbecue sauce, so be aware of that. Now, since my grill card came out, what I'm getting is, in the coming months, someone's going to go to a BAR and grill, and when they do so, you're going to notice something about their hands. Now, you could say either, is this individual going to get burnt? And my reply is yes, and this is because they don't pay attention to what they're doing. And not only that, they decided that they would use a Shakti's name in an incantation. And because of this, Shakti Asani is going ham in her energy. And there's nothing that no one could do about it. Because when she called upon Ursula Dentor said, "That is my sister." And she heard it in her sleep. And this is why this reading is coming to an end. Deuces. What is your name? What is your name? Sergisias Etha.